Hot picks. Our guest has a company working on advancing treatments for central nervous system problems and neuropsychiatric conditions as its top selection. We're joined now by Joe Thome, Senior Research Analyst in Biotech and at TD Cowen. Thanks very much indeed for joining us, Joe.
Thank you for having me.
I guess it's a reminder to eat our bananas. This first company is working on potassium and the mechanism in the body. Tell us what catches your interest with Xenon.
Yeah, so Xenon Therapeutics is a Canadian biotech company actually progressing potassium channel openers for the treatment of seizure disorders, specifically focal onset seizures. The company released very strong phase 2 pivotal data several years ago, and now investors have been waiting a few years for the phase 3 to read out, and that's going to happen here in March. And our epileptologists tell us that the holy grail for a seizure disorder drug is one that you can take once a day with no titration, plays well with other seizure disorder drugs in terms of drug-drug interactions, and obviously is effective. Right now, about 30% of focal onset seizure patients don't have anything that they can use and still have pretty refractory seizures. Xenon and azetukalner have produced some of the best seizure reduction data that we've seen so far. So this is a biotech favorite, and hopefully when the phase 3 data come out in March, we will see continued strong results, and the stock will hopefully climb, at least 30% here.
Your next idea, it has a rather boring name, United Therapeutics, but they're involved in working on acute liver failure.
So the main program for United Therapeutics, they definitely have some programs in liver failure. Why the company is known, though, is for their portfolio of drugs targeting pulmonary hypertension. So right now, they have a suite of oral, inhaled, and IV drugs for pulmonary hypertension. And the one that has really taken off recently is Tyvaso. This is their inhaled option. And while the drug is doing well so far, it's expected to do about $2 billion in revenues probably in 2026. The main growth opportunity for them is going to be in idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. The drug produced very strong phase 3 results last year and is on track to release another phase 3 study at the end of the first quarter or early second quarter this year. Idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis is a progressive disease that really hasn't had a ton of innovation in recent years. The two main drugs that are used, Ofev and Esbriet, slow a decline of symptoms, but they have pretty problematic GI side effects, and our physicians say about 20% of patients discontinue therapy. Tyvaso can get around these GI side effects and has shown best-in-class efficacy. So we think that United is on the road to a potential breakout here. Even with those problematic GI side effects, the leader in IPF makes $4 billion in annual revenues, which would be a very large growth opportunity for United over the coming years.
So one of the problems in this area has been treatments just give people digestive problems?
Yeah, so it causes some pretty severe nausea and diarrhea, and to the level where even though these patients have a pretty severe pulmonary condition, they just really can't tolerate the existing standard of care. And our doctors say within a year, 20% of these patients come off. And while there's a little bit of cough with Tyvaso, you don't see those GI side effects. So we're hoping we can get an effective therapy with some better tolerability.
Your last idea, Xenon Therapeutics. Tell us what they're mainly working on.
Yeah, so Xenon is a neuropsychiatry company. Their lead asset is called Auvelity for major depressive disorder. That drug is doing about $500 million a year. And compared to your typical SSRIs or SNRIs that you use for depression, Auvelity has a very fast onset of action within the first week.
Wow.
Doesn't have adverse mood effects. Yeah, and also plays well with other drugs as well. So it's doing well in major depressive disorder. The next leg of growth here is going to be in Alzheimer's disease agitation. So about half of the 7 to 6 million patients in the U.S. with Alzheimer's have symptoms of agitation. And patients and caregivers indicate that this is a pretty severe side effect of the disease that needs to be managed. There's only one other drug, Rexulti, that's out there to manage Alzheimer's agitation. But again, it has a black box for mortality and doesn't work that well. And so our physicians are really excited about Auvelity for Alzheimer's agitation. And it's with the FDA now with a potential approval date of April 30th of this year.
It's amazing, an antidepressant that kicks in that fast. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Joe Thome, Senior Research Analyst in Biotech at TD Cowen.